have we got a video today? I know this video is about 2 or 3 years late, but I've been procrastinating this video. I've been just dreading it. I never wanted to have to speak to everyone about it. I thought I could just put it behind me and move on with my life because I have so much pride. I don't want to let anyone know that someone could embarrass me like this, or someone could control me, or have this much ability to know how I tick. I never wanted to tell this story also because I didn't think people cared. And you might be like, well, why? It's like kind of a decent sized thing. Like it had a decent following. 212 million plays on Suicide Sheep's upload of Hello is kind of like a slightly big deal. But I didn't want to come out like sounding like some sort of victim. But honestly, the facts kind of speak for themselves. And not only that, but how can I continue to live my life knowing that there's so much slander and just lies about me on the internet from my partner? So people automatically will trust him because he is very charismatic, and that's one of the things of why I trusted him and agreed to do things, because I never thought he would betray me. He promised me that. He promised my parents that. Only to later hear, that he would say anything just in order to coerce a business relationship with me, a profitable business relationship. And that's really sad. Like, how can you construct your relationships with other people around manipulation and deceit and omission? It's not okay. So today I will be reacting to the reveal stream, just the bits and pieces that mention me, because obviously I'm not gonna talk about 5 hours worth of content. That's too much. I had to watch it at like 1.7 speed just to, not lose all of my brain cells in completion. But anyway, I digress. I thought it was very funny throughout the stream that it was mentioned that they were being transparent. And by talking about everything, that just makes you transparent, whether or not it's omitting things, whether or not it's telling half-truths, or truths here and there to kind of deceive them, make it sound more genuine. Or whether it's just saying subtle attacks on my character and just about me in general that would make him look better or in favor in the public's eye about the situation. But honestly, none of this, you can't look at anything that was said in this video as 100% true. First of all, because of the fact that I was not allowed to say anything. And this goes back to, why didn't you make a video right away when this happened? Or why didn't you hop on it, even within the first year? 2 or 3 years later, we're here, we out here, it's 2019, and it's truth time. I can't live with these lies about me anymore. And honestly, I don't think I ever really watched the stream and like all of these bits about me until tonight. And it's because I forced myself. I can't listen to Lil's voice anymore. It makes me nauseous. I can't listen to the music anymore. I can't. It's not good. Once again, I thank you for just clicking on this video, supporting me, or just being interested in the situation in general, and sharing it to other people and letting them know the truth of what happened. There are so many people that think that I was this scummy person who just set up OMFG to fail and like betrayed it, and that I didn't follow through, and that I was fired and all this stuff. But that's not true. So stick around if you want to know the details of everything.
With Kylee, so the arrangement was I gave her 1/3 of net. So every dollar I made, she would get 50 cents.
Yes, that was part of our agreement.
So that's a third then, right? That's a third.
That is a third. Yeah. So 1/3 of net, and people are like, I'm just looking reading the chat right now, because that's a lot of money. That's really good. And her job was literally to provide an image. So, like I said, I want to go against the demographic, do something different. Or not even something, I'm not even doing something different. It was something that everyone's already doing. I'm just the only person to do it as an amateur. Anyway, so yeah, she got, I paid her a lot, and I honored it, because that was what was agreed on. But then, like, not, you know...
Yeah, it was agreed on, but it was only agreeable until I was making too much money, and then you had to find a reason to point it out and like, just throw everything off and destroy what OMFG was, like, the whole purpose.
Transparent I should be, but that song's made me, like, well, I mean, I don't want to say how much it's made me, but it's doing really well for me anyway.
Because they talk about MrSuicideSheep.
Like, well, there's not much to say. It depends. You gotta be more specific, right? I can't just talk about...
Alright.
I can't just talk about someone else yet.
So,
Why
ice
so
cream.
many, how many
That
people
was
are actually
August.
in here? Oh, sorry. I'm just really distracted.
That was August 2015. You released ice cream on your own channel.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell us a bit about it.
It also did better than I thought it would do. Probably because I have really, really low standards when I try to be as modest and just keep your standards low so you don't, you know, you're not freaking disappointed. But it did better than I thought it did.
So the thing about Lowell is that he would claim to be very modest, like never expecting to do well, and he would always tell me that, like, oh, you should never expect to do well. Don't expect to make any money for like a year or more, if any money, and just various things like this. But the contrast is that even though he would say this type of thing to his friends and family, he was very, very braggadocious. And even when, like, OMFG was falling out, he would be like, oh, I know what makes money, so I don't need to hear your opinion. It doesn't matter to me. I know what works.
Telling everyone, what the hell song is this? Oh, this is Jelly in the background. I don't remember making this.
Gentlemen,
Yeah,
got
still...
Some people want to know, why are you not working together anymore? Is that something you can
This
talk about?
is the real tea.
Yeah.
Honestly.
The girl, Kylee, really nice girl. I like
Really?
her. I liked working with her.
If you liked working with someone, why would you betray them the way you did? I want to know.
And I honestly, I wanted to work with her for as long as
Looks up in the corner of his eye as if he's trying to figure out, like, what to say after that. Because, yeah, those are truths. I was always nice. I was always trying to keep everything on track, trying to build the brand and everything, and work hard to keep everything having posts and engagement, trying to reply to fans and just being as nice and, like, spreading positivity as I can. And everything that he did just went to undermine it. It wasn't good.
OMFG existed. That was the plan. When people ask, how long are you going to be doing this? How long do you think you can get away with this whole girl thing? Like, get away with, like, never mind. But,
Lies.
like, forever. I would always say, I'm going to take this thing to Mars and back. That was my stupid answer. And that was the plan.
I would call BS on this personally, because when OMFG was falling out and my mom was personally messaging him as well as myself, and she said, you know, well, why did you say the things that you did to me and to my daughter? Why did you convince us that you were never going to do this or exploit her? But yet every step of the way, your actions proved otherwise. And I'll get to more of this. I'm going to give proof. I'll probably splash up some screenshots and, like, text explaining, like, little bits and pieces. I'm sorry if it's a lot. It's really hard for me to understand how to put this video together. I think I'll probably be editing some clips together too, because I'm gonna go through the actual... I probably, depending on how I have edited it, it might already have been seen. So sorry. But this is hard for me to sew together the little pieces. I don't know. I've never made a YouTube video. I'm not a pro. Sorry.
Forever. But I told her when she's done high school, I'm going to need 1 selfie a day for Instagram. So it doesn't seem like that end of the world for 1 selfie a day.
So this is literally the most annoying part to me, because by my speculation personally, I think that this entire argument of his is basically just a made-up way to split up OMFG. Now, I'm going to say, I don't know for sure. Like I said in my intro, I don't know all the answers. I don't know if when he decided he was gonna make up this experiment and have a girl for a face to do music because no one else has done it before. I call lies. But anyways, the point of an experiment, I want to say to you, I want to make this very clear. You do an experiment when it's already been tested in different ways, but a new experiment, you conduct an experiment by changing one variable to see if you can prove your hypothesis. So hypothetically, the hypothesis was, can we make something viral or just do well? And I never thought it was going to go viral. So let me preface with that. Like, I never thought it was going to be viral. I never had that suspicion. It was such a surprise and like the strangest thing in the world, because I never had any kind of experience with this until then. It was so alien to me. I don't even know, like, is this possible until it happened. The fact that the experiment with the variable being me was a success means that I am the variable responsible for that success. But let me also say, I don't think I'm the only part of this. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm not claiming that all of OMFG's successes is just me. It was both of us. OMFG was a very unique mix of things. 2 people who came from very different backgrounds. We were probably like yin and yang. Everything that I thought, he thought was like completely wrong. He would always tell me this, like, oh, you haven't been right once. Just listen to what I have to say. Like, I don't need to hear your opinion. And this is at the end, of course, that I'm talking. In the beginning, he would ask me all kinds of stuff. I would help with all kinds of creative decisions, sitting on Skype for literally hours and hours and hours, like 8-hour Skype calls, just talking about music. Like, oh, that sounds weird. You should change that. You should make this quieter or this louder. You should have something like a callback melody here, or just this note sounds funky. Maybe you could change this. And there's a lot more to it. Oh, I diverted from my point. I'm sorry. So the 1 selfie a day thing, right? I'm sorry I didn't finish that right away, but the 1 selfie a day thing. We were totally fine until all of a sudden he like brought this up. And he's just like, you need to post 1 selfie a day after, he didn't like specify right away, like after high school. And this is the week before I was graduating. I was like, what? Are you crazy or something? Like, I have baccalaureate. I'm graduating with high honors. I was on the high A honor roll and doing all of this extra stuff. Like, we were doing like local volunteer work and stuff like that. It was a really busy time in my life. And I was like, that's kind of wild that you would just say, like, you need to do this without any kind of just discussion or explaining why. He just said it. Like, it was a statement. It was a command. It wasn't, it didn't feel like negotiable. And when I kind of was like, huh, what? Like, what are you saying? Because it came out of nowhere, literally, seemingly nowhere. It was just strange.
And she said that would be impossible.
I never said it would be impossible. I can. So if I haven't already, I'll put up some screenshots here of the chat. I never said it was impossible. I actually agreed to, but when I agreed to, because he made the notation later. Oh, I meant after you were done with high school, like after you graduated. And I was like, I mean, okay, yeah, but I don't really understand. Like, I'm already making so many posts a day. Like, posting, like sometimes 10 selfies on Snapchat in a day, getting like 50 plus screenshots on my selfies, getting thousands and thousands of views on my stories and everything like that. Like, making sure it was engaging and constantly replying to people, even when I was in this busiest week of school and whatnot. And so I just want to reiterate that it was really, really strange that when I said yeah, he still said, oh, I can't work with you because you think you can negotiate with me. You think you have any choices. You don't get to have any choices. I have all the control. And I was like, whoa, wait, why are you trying to start drama all of a sudden? Like, we've always been fine. And he is saying like, oh, you're not respecting our agreement. You're not doing anything. And then 2 messages later saying like, we don't even have an agreement. So he, first of all, our agreement was verbal. I was underage when I met this person. I was 16 years old and he was 21. And he sought me out. It was on this app called like Meet Me. It used to be myyearbook.com or whatever. And he approached me with a fake name, which is a constant theme throughout our entire correspondence together. But I think the name was like Scran Bob, which like so funny. Anyway, when he first reached out to me, he was like really observing me and the way that I talk, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Maybe he's just like a mysterious person. I like to make friends, especially on the internet. I was just that kind of person, and just I don't even really know how to explain my outlook on that, but Durarara is my favorite anime. And if you've seen Durarara, basically they connect a bunch of like mysteries together by kind of like shady or very, very complex people who have a lot of different sides to each character, and each episode is kind of interwoven into other episodes or other stories with other characters. It's hard to explain unless you've seen it, but it's a magical anime that's wonderful. And it also was the primary reason why I actually agreed to do OMFG. When this random dude on the internet approached me and was like, hey, do you want to do this thing with me? I was like, heck yeah, right away. Like, I didn't even ask what it is. Like, I just knew that if it was, sorry, this is really just like cringy to say, but I was 16 at the time. If it was a television show, if it was a comic, if it was an anime, the protagonist would say, heck yeah, like they would just dive right in. At least the kind of protagonist that I would be. So I said, yeah, I was like, sure, I would love to, do something that's bigger than just me, or be able to collaborate with someone online, because I love art, I love music, I play the flute since 4th grade, and I can play, I have a double barrel ocarina, and just various different things. Like, I was in choir throughout all of high school, as soon as I could essentially take it. Anyways, I digress. Oh, okay. So, basically, if you see the screenshots here, he said, oh, I actually wanted 5 selfies a day, like posted to Facebook, which is ridiculous. I will tell you. So I'm like a fashion cosplay like blogger on Instagram. I don't even post once a day. I don't even post like once every 2 days. It's too much. It's not practical, especially if you want to post at a certain level. if you're doing professional like photography with a DSLR camera, actually setting up shoots, setting up outfits, which take a long time because I don't I don't know. I don't like to follow like traditional fashion rules. I like to get like something from here, something from there, like different texture, different pattern, and combine it in my own unique way, because that's what I think that's what I like to use as an outlet on my Instagram. I like to bring my sense of style. And I'm not saying I'm like the only one who does that, whatever, but I digress again. When he said the 5 selfie a day thing, I laughed out loud. Like, I said to myself, you must be joking. That's not even... I would have to live my life around taking pictures. And I lived with my parents at the time. And my parents are very, very strict. They expect you to spend family time. You're not allowed to, like, really be in your room much. You need to support the family and just do chores, like, all of this different stuff. It was not physically possible for me when I was living in that household to be able to have all of these crazy pictures all the time. And granted, my photos weren't at such a high level back then, but I did have very negative self-image, which made me have to spend a lot of time, like, taking images in the right light or wearing, like, a lot of makeup or just editing them, you know, and they were terrible photos. Like, I don't even know why anyone was ever interested or why they were considered, like, clickbaity, because I took the worst photos. Like, on my super duper old webcam built into my laptop. Just terrible. And for some reason, people were still supportive of that, which is really whack to me, but, like, shout out to y'all, y'all the GOAT. Anyway, when he said this 5 selfie thing a day to me, I just realized, like, this must be fabricated. This must be just a way to pick drama with me. Because very shortly after, he started saying, when he's like, oh, I can't work with you anymore, like, can I pay you to leave? How much to never have to deal with this kind of drama again? And that's when it really hit me. Like, he just wants me out of here. He doesn't care how or why. He just wants me out. And around this time, too, I don't remember the exact day. The conversations are really hard to get a hold of as it is because he used fake names. Every gosh darn heckin' time I'd pull out the headphone. Sorry. But every time we would have, like, intense conversations and stuff, I would just notice, like, shortly after he would migrate to a new Facebook profile under another fake name. So eventually these profiles will get flagged by Facebook as being spam, and you can't respond to the message anymore. The profile picture tends to disappear. You can't see pictures anymore sometimes, like, depending on the browser you're using, or, like, if you're on your phone or something. So I can't see a lot of different things, and it's really, really hard to find them because the name just disappears on a lot of them. So I would have to search, like, in the messages. You know, if you go on Facebook Messenger, you can search in message, like, just different excerpts from them. And I would have to do that really cautiously to be able to discover them. I actually found new messages that I haven't seen in years because I couldn't remember what name it was under. And he used the worst names, because this is, you know, if you know Lowell, you know that he's a very, like, he has a very, like, trolling personality. Just, like, everything he does is kind of stuff, like, because he's making fun of something or someone or whatever. And he doesn't take a lot of things seriously, but when he does take things seriously, you're likely to be the one being insulted anyways. So, yeah. As I was going through this conversation, the further and further we went into it, the more it escalated. And seemingly over nothing. And after he would be arguing about it, he would go back to his normal self, like, oh, how is the end of school going? And, like, oh, can I come see you? Can I come to graduation? Can I go on a date with you? Can I take you out? And it's like, are you kidding me? You're trying to destroy this thing that I've put so much effort into every single day of my life from school. And my teachers and I kind of just had like this silent agreement because I had like straight A's and everything, and I would always have my homework done, and I don't know, I guess I was more liked by teachers than my actual peers, and they just kind of had this silent agreement with me that I would basically, if I was on my phone, I was running this account. And it was kind of well known at that point when I was like a senior in high school. Everyone kind of knew what OMFG was, because that was when it was really, really blowing up, and people started noticing more, which made it all the worse when my last week in high school it started diving headfirst into off a cliff. It was embarrassing to look at people or talk to people. It was embarrassing when people would ask me about it, especially knowing just what kind of an impact it had. Like, I don't really know how to talk about it because it sounds very boo-hooey to me, if you can describe it like that. Sorry. It was like this thing that I was basically forced to lie about, because that was essentially, quote unquote, what I was like being told to do by Lowell, is, oh, people can't know anything, like you have to lie. And he said that afterwards, like, oh, when we were breaking up with OMFG, like I like to think it makes me feel better to think that you were so sad when we were together and stuff. And that's true. It's so annoying because it's like I was in such a bad state during OMFG and such a bad state after OMFG. And that's the only way I can describe it, is the impact it had on me was so good and so bad at the same time. I made so many friends, just like irreplaceable friends, and just various like other types of things, But also on the other side, there was a lot of bad, and my name has been dragged through the mud. So I guess that's why I'm here today.
She refused to do a selfie a day. And that's, for that conversation and everything after it went downhill. And I can't work with, I mean, like, if I'm paying you, over $100,000 a year to post a selfie a day and you're going to say no, then I'm not sure what to do here.
Oh, this is false. This is so false. He was not paying me that much. And that's not even half true. That's a third true. Because in that entire time, I did not make $100K. I did not make half of that. I did not have that much money. No. If someone is telling you this, someone who has 5 custom painted cars is saying this, and what do I have? Like, I'm not complaining. I have a lot of things that I've worked hard for that I have and I've collected. It's not comparable. It's not comparable at all. He has a chrome wrapped Corvette, like 2 Hummer H2s that are custom painted, a Jaguar from the 80s that's like a super nice car, and a purple Japanese farm truck with illegal floodlights because he thinks it's effing funny. Anyway, I digress. I'm not trying to be attacking of him and his decisions. He can do whatever he wants with his money, but I also don't think it's fair that he could say these things. He can lie about how much he's paying me and just frame me out to be a bad guy, someone who is out to destroy OMFG, when that's not true. I was doing everything I could to try and change his mind and make him understand that OMFG is never going to be the same. And he thinks, no, it's going to be even better because I know everything to do and I'm the only one who's right and the only one who knows everything, basically. And I guess I can't say that. He would get mad if I said that he thinks he knows everything because he doesn't think he knows everything. Sorry.
No, then I'm not sure what to do here.
I'm not sure what to do here.
She stole the Instagram and
okay.
Snapchat for a while, so I didn't have those.
I did not steal the Instagram and Snapchat. He says that legally they're not mine, but legally they are. I started those accounts. They were under my email. Not even the Alex Savage OMFG email. They were under my email, my password. I was using them. Just me. Like, the Snapchat was all my pictures. It was me talking to people. The Instagram was all of my pictures. Everything was taken by me, unless there was something where he was like, oh, post this for authenticity and stuff like that. But let me give you a glimpse into this. When we were breaking up with OMFG and stuff like that, he posts a song like every few months. I said this in the screenshot, that when he was like getting after me about this, and he's like, oh, you don't post enough, when I was posting literally every single day, whether or not I was posting like a legitimate, like, sleek, polished of that age selfie. And you can say, oh, well, it's a selfie, does it really matter? Baby, it matters. When you are as depressed as I was and just very, very self-hateful, seeing your face, like, is hard. And it's like, well, why did you join OMFG if that's what you knew you were gonna do? Well, our agreement was never posting one photo a day. Him exploiting the fact that we only had a verbal agreement. By the way, if you didn't know that, sorry, we only had a verbal agreement. So he sought out a minor. Only as a verbal agreement, no writing, no proof of this agreement, per se. And even denying the fact that the agreement existed, unless it was convenient for him. So whenever there was something that I would say, oh, well, we have this agreement, so you need to abide by it, he'd be like, what agreement? We don't have an agreement. And then he would say something that it would only stand if the agreement was in place. And then I would say, like, I thought we didn't have an agreement. And he'd be like, you're pulling that card? See the image here. And it was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. And there's a part later in this stream where he says he has a really bad memory. I can attest to that. And if he doesn't have a really bad memory, he's just casually forgetting things that don't conveniently benefit him, or exploiting them to benefit him. So, what do I even say about this? Let me just continue.
But she was convinced that the Snapchat and the Instagram...
That's not true. That's not true. I never claimed that the Twitter was mine. I actually said the opposite. I said...
That's the only reason why people follow
the Instagram and Snapchat should be mine. They're only my photos. People follow it to see my face. If they're interested in the music, they would just be following those things. There are people who would watch me on Twitch, or they would follow me on Snapchat, but they wouldn't follow me on something else and stuff like that. Whether or not they were aware of that social media existing, or they were just fond of my presence on that social media. It doesn't necessarily correlate, honestly. The fact that if someone's following your SoundCloud, they're probably following for your music. But the fact that he used my face as clickbait, it changes things. It really does. Because they're partially clicking on that song because there's like, oh, who's this girl? There's like this mystery to it. It's like, or just the controversy, the fact that so many people were saying, well, I don't think this is what this is. I think that this is a lot of rumors were going around. I'm not really going to get into that because it's kind of useless. It doesn't really fit into what I'm needing to talk about today. But I'm always willing to talk about it if you DM me or if you ask me the question, like when I'm answering questions on Instagram. So yeah. I'm just gonna say, if people were only following him, or following us, sorry, then it wouldn't have mattered if he used my image. He would have been popular on Fanbase. He would have been popular on Electrofint, or the various other aliases that he used. He used Fanbase less than a year before OMFG, like before Hello, and definitely like less than half of a year before he actually met me, definitely. So I don't understand, if he is so good at music, I don't know why I was involved in the first place. I understand, oh, it's for fun, we're just gonna see if it works out and all that stuff. That's not true. Why? If that was true, why would he pay me for it? Why would we be splitting revenue for a picture, like a very, very poor quality picture taken oftentimes on my webcam, or like super old iPods and stuff? Like, I don't even understand how that could be an argument.
I don't know. It was just not a good conversation.
Not a good conversation. It wasn't a good conversation because he made it an uncomfortable conversation. He kept assuming things. And yes, I did think that I had, so help me God, think I have a part in OMFG. To which, after seeking multiple different like legal aid after the fact, have been informed that I should have been entitled to up to 50% of the earnings of OMFG, and that I was mispaid from the get-go. And there's documents of that. I'm not going to go into it because it is legal and more confidential, but I have those documents. It's been proven that he underpaid me majorly. So even though he said, so this is what I don't understand again. He said he was paying me over 100K. Later in the video, he says that's being modest. And I'm not sure if he was trying to say that if I would have essentially been able to continue my partnership with him, that I would have made over 100K in that year frame, which would have been possible. I'm sure, but up until then, it's not true. It's not true at all. Like I said before, I made about like 1/3 of that? My math might be wrong, but it's not even half true. I'll just say that. So false. So false, unless he's talking about the future.
I will actually be quite happy with that answer, to be honest. So, because you're being very, very transparent there.
Yeah, people might be happy with that answer because he's using me as a scapegoat for the reason why OMFG had to be changed. Let me ask you this. After OMFG fell out, he told me I was not allowed to tell anyone that if I F it up, that I will not see another penny, and all of these things, just like threatening me, manipulating me into not saying anything. Anytime I would vent to a friend, I kind of had, like, I guess the friends that I would tell would be so upset for me that they would actually, without me saying to do anything, I would never advise anyone to like attack LOL over it, and I still don't. So this whole video is not, the point of it is not for me to say, oh, like, go and have a witch hunt of him. But I am pretty upset because recently I was threatened to be doxxed. And same thing with Slushy, who's been so supportive of me this entire time. We were threatened by someone who literally has lived, I'm not sure if currently lives with LOL and his just close friend in real life. So why would that happen? I understand maybe if he was feeling protective over LOL because LOL has clearly like served a purpose to him, like providing housing, whatever. I understand that, but also you need to understand the truth of the situation. Me, speaking this and correcting the slander, why would you threaten that? Why would he feel threatened by that? I mean, I understand why he would, because this entire thing pokes holes in everything he said. And it needs to be known. It needs to be known. I don't care. Even if they did dox me, I will still say this, because it needs to be known. I'm not going to sit in a corner anymore and have people tell me, oh, you're the reason why OMFG failed, and you're the reason, like, it's your fault that things happened with Sheepy, because that's not the truth whatsoever, and I have so much proof of that.
It was going to be full transparency, but yeah, there you go. That's your transparency, isn't it?
It's not transparent if you're lying or omitting things. It is not. He started the discussion. And it wasn't a discussion. Let me tell you, a discussion is when two people can talk like adults and give their opinions or their feelings or structure. You know what I mean? Like, being able to say an idea and not be yelled at for it. Whereas he flat out told me that my opinion wasn't needed because he knew what was right the whole time.
I was blown away. I was like,
he was blown away by a scenario that he created, that
no
he
way.
manipulated, literally.
Oh, that's too bad. And I feel bad because I'm offering her. Oh, I mean that's a different conversation actually, but yeah.
Way to make it about you. Like, I don't understand. If you feel so bad, then why are you making up lies about me? Why are you telling people all of these just complete or just levels of untrue or like omission in what was said? Did he really never think that I would ever come out about it?
All because of a selfie a fucking day.
And I reiterate, I agreed to a selfie a day, but by this point, like I said, he was coming up with spontaneous reasons why we shouldn't work together anyways, and just being very, very obstinate about it, like saying things such as, you know, it doesn't really matter what you say anymore, even if you agreed to it. I just don't want to work with someone like you anymore. I can't be working with someone with like you, who thinks that they have any right to anything. And saying, even going as far as, you knew I needed control from the beginning. What? How did a 16-year-old who you agreed to be partners with know that you need all the control from the beginning? Like, what? Are you kidding me right now? I was a child. And even when I was 18, for the few months before, I turned 18 in November of 2015 and May 2016. So like half a year of being 18, I was still a baby. I'm still a baby. I still don't know everything, obviously. Like, I never will. And I have so much room to grow in the future. No one is ever perfect. And the fact that he took advantage of this, like, he exploited the fact that we had no agreement on paper. He had nothing I could refer to. Therefore, the way I look at this one selfie a day thing is he's changing the agreement to what he wants it, to what benefits him for the argument, so that he can easily kick me out. He can say, oh, well, you violated our agreement since you're not agreeing to do what I said you have to do. And when I said, how am I violating the agreement? We never agreed to this. He'll say something like, he'll say something like, oh, I'm just not satisfied with your services. I don't think I should be sharing revenue with you anymore. Which is so ironic to me, because the entire time that OMFG was breaking up, or like after, like he said, oh, I can't work with you anymore, just not giving me any choices, he just not giving me any chance to negotiate. Basically what was happening was he would message me all the time, just being like, oh, can I come see you? Can I go on a date with you? I want to see you so bad. Let me take you shopping. Like, go on a trip with me to this place and I'll take you shopping and be my girlfriend. I literally have a screenshot of him asking me to be his girlfriend slave because he couldn't pay me for the work I was doing for OMFG, and instead he wanted to be able to have every single aspect of control over me. Why would you ask someone to be your girlfriend slave after saying, oh, you're not allowed to have control or negotiation, but let me pay you to be my girlfriend slave? Are you serious, dude? Like, are you sick?
Say that. I am offering her $30,000 to,
Oh shit.
yeah, $30,000 to
So let me just tell you,
termination. I don't
this
have to give her
agreement
anything, and she doesn't
to
have to
acknowledge the
termination.
termination, it was an NDA. He wanted me to not be able to say anything. He wanted, basically, the contract detailed me, my family, my peers, anyone who claimed to be allied with me could not say anything about the situation to anyone or to Lowell. And if he did, if anyone did, or if I did, then he would be able to instantly, like, file a lawsuit with me about it. And I was never gonna sign this. And he, like, makes a big deal about this, like, oh, I was being generous to give her $30K. If you need your partner to sign an NDA, doesn't that kind of, like, observe worse things beneath the skin? And the fact that he doesn't really say that that's what this is, he's just like, oh, it was just me being a nice person. That's even worse to me. He was not being a nice person. He's trying to get me to shut up about it forever so that no one can ever find out what happened. Truly. And that's why he said, when everything was falling apart, like, oh, you can't say anything until I say something. You can't say anything until I already came out about this. Because he wanted to squash me down. He didn't want me to have those social medias, even though it was all my face, people who were fans of me. And when I told people, when I said, oh, here's my new Snapchat because I'm being threatened into giving it back to him, he said, oh, you're not authorized to make those posts. You're not authorized to say that. Authorized? When have you ever authorized me to say anything? It's always been about my personality, my aesthetic, my face, building OMFG. And there's literally early messages of him saying, like, oh, your song, or like our and us, and just different things that he was admitting. As well as, so this is a very important part of the puzzle. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but my method of storytelling is not very clear. It never has been. My web of storytelling, if this is the image, my path is like boop, 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 because I go back to things, I forget to finish things, and it's a whole lot. It's just a whole lot. It's a whole lot for me. It's something where when I haven't been sleeping the past nights, it's because I'm just thinking of how to say things, thinking of how to project my thoughts clearly and concisely, and I still can't. I never probably will be able to, unless it's in writing. Unless I just write down the story completely. I just can't. And I'm sorry if this is so confusing to understand, because I'm jumping back and forth. But a lot of things as they happened weren't clear to me. A lot of things as they happened, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And just like, you know, being kind of like creeped out by it, or just thinking it's strange, or that I was just special for the fact that he approached me as a 16-year-old. And then later, after I grew up more, and I'm 21, the age that he approached me at when I was 16, I would never approach a 16-year-old. I don't want anything to do with anyone who's underage romantically. Are you kidding me? What do you see in them? That's a person who is innocent. They're not mentally developed yet. They can't make proper decisions or give consent, for God's sake. If you're interested in a person like that, what does that say about you? It's just, you're going after them to groom them to become someone you want them to be. You are going after them for their innocence because they must not have a lot of knowledge about certain things and stuff. And it's true. That's what he found cute about me. From like a week after he started talking to me, I was 16, like I said, like I've reiterated multiple times. And he's saying like, oh, you're the hottest girl in the world. Like, I love you from less than 2 weeks of us knowing each other. And I was never like flirting with him. I was always being like very just like, oh, what's next for the project? Like, how can I help? How can I do this or whatever you need? Like, if you need any support, like, let me know. And just genuinely impressed by his talent and like his charisma. I thought he was such a cool person, and that I was like so lucky to know him. And later on, it's just sick to me. If someone is standing basically on this tier above you in life, and I'm not saying that means they're better than you, but just like in a different level of their life, you know? Like a 21-year-old is someone who might be graduating from college. They might be starting a family. They might be getting married. A 16-year-old is someone who's in high school. You know what I mean? Like, that's a kid. There's such a difference in life perspectives. Not to mention, it's illegal. It's illegal. It's statutory. It's illegal. And I guess that's all I have to say about that. I digress. Back to what I was saying before, maybe. I don't know. I'll probably finish my thought later. I'm sorry that this is thought Tetris jigsaw puzzle. I shouldn't be allowed to have YouTube, honestly. Like, I'm sorry. But basically, he said that he doesn't need me to acknowledge the termination. And that's completely false. He kept begging me to call him. He kept begging me to almost say things like subtly begging by saying different things or stirring up drama. Like I said, like saying like, oh, how much to never have to deal with this drama again, or like, give me a number, give me a number, give me a number. Like, maybe I'll post a screenshot here of him saying that. I don't want to refer too much to the conversations because a lot of it's like in a very dark place, because like I said, he did mix business relationship with intimate relationship, and that's so messed up. It just creates an entire mess because he was destroying my entire life that I have built up, this entire persona. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. I'm not used to talking this much. And he was just sitting there being like, oh, well, can I come see you? And it's like, no, I want nothing to do with you. You've completely displaced my trust forever, first of all. I can never trust you again. I thought this was the person who was the closest to me. Like, I thought I knew him more than anyone, per se. And come to find out later on that people are like, oh, did you know this about him? Did you know that about him? And it's like, I had no idea.
Or, you know, thinking she has a case or doing something that she shouldn't be doing.
And let me tell you, I have every right. In the lawyers that I have seen, I have every right to go after and to deal with this. And I don't know if I will or won't be, but let me just tell you, there's a lot more than what he's saying going on. And he won't mention that because why would he mention anything that's not convenient or make him look good? He just wants you to know what he wants you to know so that you stop asking about it and he can go on with it and make it what he wants it to be.
Or just talking about it or talking bad about me and my brand or my music. If she could just sign this document that says, basically, I'm not going to talk shit.
Okay, listen, until now, I have not really, like, talked badly. Like, I might vent to personal, like, very, very close friends, like I mentioned, but I have not talked badly, like, publicly. I've not made statuses about him. I've not done anything. Everything I've done, I've been, like, you know, like, writing poetry. And to this day, I write, like, this poetry. Or, like, have these misplaced negative feelings. And I'm like, why? Why do I feel this way? And then I realized, like, it's just lingering feelings because I've never had closure. To this day, I've never had closure.
Fair, but, and you know, she owes money. She's a pretty heavy spender.
This is not okay for him to say. He is not at the discretion to call me a heavy spender when he has 5 cars.
Accept the 30 grand. She won't sign the document.
I will not sign an NDA. I will not sign away my rights. I will not. I don't care about the money. And no, he doesn't have a right to say this. I'm not in debt. I don't know why he says this. It's not okay. It's not true. And it just paints me as a person who is untrustworthy to these people he's revealing me to. And he has no right to do that. He is trying to raise people's opinion of himself by lowering their opinion of me. So basically, like, in the contrast of each other, he'll look like a better person, if that makes sense.
I have to keep doing what I'm already doing, as well as deal with the nuisance of being attacked by...
You mean the way I'm being attacked this entire thing subtly? Like, he might not be saying, like, straight out, you know, like, that I'm a bad person, but he is mocking me. He is. I know, to an extent, how this person acts and what their words mean. And I know, too, because of our private conversations, that when he's saying this stuff, he's literally just trying to use omission and just coercion to make all of the odds.
Number one, did you do any prior music prior to this? Did you release any prior music? And number two, why the pink?
I'm not going to talk about the prior music.
I wonder why he's not going to talk about the prior music. Probably because his literal old alias, he tweeted things like this. It's disgusting. I can't. And this is his humor. And being around him, I kind of realized this more and more. Like, I thought he was just trying to be, like, edgy and funny and stuff. But to the point where I don't really know what to believe. I remember one time we were driving back from Chicago, and he was like, I think it's so cool that you can have an abortion in some places, like, up till the day before you give birth. And I was like, why would you say that? Like, first of all, why would you say that? Even to be edgy or, like, funny or, like, just see how I react to it. Like, why would you say that? I don't understand.
Okay.
Why did you private the Q&As when I heard for the last 12 hours? And it falls under the same thing as the pictures and the images,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't pay for her image anymore. I did. I don't now. I'm going to represent it.
Oh. I found this picture. I found the OMFG profile on Skype when I was looking for our old conversations, like how far back they dated and all that stuff. And he still uses my profile picture or he still uses my picture for his profile picture on Skype, so.
One thing you should know about me, I have a really fucked up memory.
Yeah, there it is. Like I said, and that's him just forgetting things conveniently that he said. Like, I think I touched on it earlier when I mentioned that he basically, like, told me and my mom that he would say whatever he could in the past just to have a steady business relationship, like whatever he had to say to make them happy and to make them let me keep working with him and stuff like that. And that's so screwed up. Like, telling me things like, oh, I'm not gonna replace you, I need you because you're such a vital part of this project. He would say that to me and my mom. And, like, why lie about it? Like, I don't understand. I still don't understand. I probably never will, because I don't think I'll ever get an honest answer out of him, or he might truly believe, like, what he has said or how he's skewed his own memories. I don't know.
Why, if he was making music for himself, why is he using a girl's picture? Well, like I said, it was an experiment. He wanted to see what would happen out of it, right?
And that's what I'm saying. Okay, so saying I wanted to see what would happen out of it. Are you kidding? Like, clearly you expected something. I remember before Hello was uploaded and stuff like that, he used to have talk of with his brother talking about, like, botting it and stuff to make it look like it was bigger than it was, and he never did that. Like, let me exclaim, he never did that. So everything was just, like, as it was. It was organic, I guess. Like, it was just how much it was shared and all that stuff, but there was no bots. But I'm just saying, like, clearly he had intentions to try and make it big. And, yeah. It's just, I don't like being a test subject, no offense. And that's basically the end of what has been mentioned about me in the stream that I know of. I kind of stopped at this point because I was, like, really over it. And I know there was a lot of goofy stuff that happened in the stream after this, so